Hooray. So hello everyone, I'm Anne, this is Brian, welcome to yoga. We're gonna start today seated on either a blanket or a block, or you can even sit on a chair if you want, as long as you have a nice elevated spine. So to show you what that looks like from the side, it's like this. So I'm not sitting here, in my most comfortable normal seat, but my heart is open, my spine is long, my tail is slightly tucked, and that's, about it. So from here, as we sit here with this nice long spine, let's inhale the arms out wide and up, leaning forward on our hips, possibly even looking up a little bit, and then exhale, pushing the hands down. Again, inhaling, leaning forward, opening the arms out wide and up. And then exhaling, pushing the hands back down. And then this last time, let's inhale the arms out wide and up, drawing the hands together above your head. Let's bring the hands down in front of the chest. And if you wish to join us in one little Om to start this class, feel free to inhale deeply. Possibly feeling the sound resonate in the body. From here, there we are. From here, as we sit, after having done our prana mudra, where we inhale wide and exhale, let's bring the hands to the knees, and we're just going to inhale, lean the spine forward, and then exhale, drawing the spine back. So I'll show you what this looks like from the side, this little seated cat and cow. We're going to inhale, leaning up, opening the heart, expanding the belly. Exhale, draw the belly back to the spine as the belly comes rounding back. So inhaling, leaning forward. Exhaling, pushing back. And we'll just continue this movement with our breath, really feeling the fullness of the breath as it enters into the entire body cavity. Exhaling, pushing it all out, drawing that navel towards the spine. At this point, on our next inhale, let's come forward, and then as we exhale, you can lean to the right side and bring yourself back that way. So this is becoming a circular motion of inhaling forward and exhaling back, but following a circle. So it's kind of like we're cleaning out the sides of a barrel with the sides of our body. It's like we're scraping around the inside of that barrel as we inhale forward and exhale back. And feel free to really explore space here with your spine. You can also use your cervical spine here, your neck, if you want to inhale the chin up, and then exhale, chin comes back down. And then when you're ready, next time we come forward, let's switch the direction, taking that little spinal rotation the other way. There was a request earlier for hip openers. You might be feeling this movement in your hips. If you are not, feel free to draw the soles of the feet together, take the hands to the ankles, and we'll continue the same kind of movement. So this time my hips are a little bit more open than they were before, and I might be feeling it more in my hip flexors as I'm doing this. Then when you're ready, we'll just come back up to neutral. Take the hands in front of us on the mat, and feel free to pat under the knees with that folded up blanket if you like. If you're practicing on a carpet, you might not need to do that, but if you're practicing on a wood floor or a similar hard surface, this might be really delightful. From here, Brian is going to take us through this whole epic cat-cow phenomena, so that I'm not just talking your ear off the whole time.
So lining
And
up.
I'll show you from the side again.
So lining up wrists directly under shoulders, knees under hips. Let's inhale as we raise the tailbone, drop the belly, and raise the head. And then exhale, drop the spine, round the back, drop the head. So we're just going to continue with that motion, inhaling as we come into cow, exhaling as we come into cat, can make it slow. If you want to take long, slow, deep breaths, you can take a really long time to come through each posture to its fullest potential.
So again, this is very similar to what we were doing seated, whereas we inhale, the belly expands and comes down, and as we exhale, the navel comes up towards the spine, rounding.
Now we're going to get a circular motion into that, much like we were when we were seated. So the next time you inhale into cow, on the exhale, round the ribs off to one side and continue rounding until you get into cat. And then round to the other side as you inhale, rounding into back down into a cow. So the idea is like you're taking your whole torso like it's inside of a barrel and you're trying to rub the whole
We're scraping that barrel again.
Scraping that barrel with every.
We can't stop scraping that barrel. What do you think we're scraping? Must from grapes.
Stuff we're trying to
Scraping out the
scrape
gum.
off. Scrape off the gum.
End of the year gum.
And switch the direction at some point so that you're rubbing that barrel in both directions. And then we'll come back to center. We're gonna do something to open up the shoulders, get some opening into the shoulders and stuff. So let's spread the fingers really wide on the left hand. So we're really gonna root into that left hand. We're gonna turn the body to the right, reach that right arm up towards the sky, twisting that way, and then exhale, thread the needle, send that right arm underneath that left armpit, bring the right shoulder to the earth, right ear comes to the earth. If you can't quite make it to the earth, you can find like a block or something that kind of help bring the earth to you. And so here we are in this twist should be opening up the back of the right shoulder. If you want more of a twist here, there's a couple of options. One is you can take that left hand and put it on top of the right hand, interlace the fingers, and try straightening that arm. That's one option. If you want to go even further, you can inhale that left arm up to the sky. Let's exhale it down to the sacrum at first and check in with that sacrum. Make sure that the sacrum, that your hips are pointing straight down towards the earth and they're not popping off to one side or the other. And then once you got that established, you can even wind that left hand around. Maybe it finds the outer upper right thigh. No matter where you are, just keep breathing into this twist for a couple more breaths. And then if you have your hand wrapped around you or on your back, we're going to inhale that hand up to the sky. Exhale, left hand down right next to your face. We're going to press into that left hand to come up, turn to the right, reach up towards the sky to the right. Exhale, coming back down to tabletop. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. This time spreading the fingers really wide on the right hand. We're going to turn to the left, reach that left arm up towards the sky. And on an exhale, we're going to thread the needle, bring that left arm down to the earth, left shoulder comes to the earth, left ear comes to the earth. And then maybe you're just staying here. If you want a little extra, you can take that right hand, put it on top of the left hand, interlace the fingers and try straightening that right arm. If you want to twist even more, let's inhale that right arm up to the sky. Exhale it down to the sacrum, check in with it, make sure it's not popping off to the right or the left. And then if you want, you can wind that hand around. Maybe you find the outer upper left thigh with the right hand. No matter where you are, just breathe deep into this twist. And then if you have your hand on your back or wrapped around your back, inhale that up to the sky. Right hand comes down right next to your face, right under the right shoulder. Press into that right arm to come up, turn to the left, reach the left arm up towards the sky. Exhale, come right back down to tabletop position.
And then let's give you the option here for a shoulder opener. If you feel very confident about your rotator cuff, then hold on a sec, we've got something really good for you. But if you're not so sure if your rotator cuffs want to go really deep, feel free to come down. We can all do this actually. Feel free to come down to your elbows here. And then we can tuck our chin and let the crown of our head come towards the ground, possibly resting on the ground here for a version of rabbit posture. If you feel like your shoulders are very open and you want to go deeper, you can lift your head, taking a look at what we're doing here, and then slide your hands forward one by one, coming further down towards forehead or chin. So it's like I'm resting on my chest here. This posture is sometimes called playful puppy. Sometimes it's called anahatasana, which means heart posture. So the idea being that this is a deep heart opener. If you are in this deep heart opener, feel free to draw the shoulder blades back on the back a little bit before resting the forehead or the chin on the ground. So we're keeping the spine long here, even though it is pretty dramatically curved. When you're ready to get out of this, we're just gonna bend the elbows, coming forward. Let's walk the hands back towards right under our shoulders. You can tuck the toes, lift the hips, coming towards downward facing dog for just a second here. And then with knees bent or straight, your choice, we can just walk the hands back, fingers spread wide, like I'm a tree frog or something wonderful like that. Here we are in our forward fold. Feel free to enjoy it for a second. You can have your knees bent if you like. You can grab for opposite elbows if you like, and gently sway side to side, just starting to loosen up the low back here. We're gonna slowly roll all the way up to standing as if we were evolving through time and through all those different versions of Homo sapiens and Homo habilis and all that stuff. So stand up nice and strong here at the end in mountain posture, and then let's just shake everything off. So now we're gonna warm up the body a little bit in preparation for a couple, I won't psych us out too much, a couple of practices that can be as difficult as we wish them to be. But first we have to have nice open hips, nice open shoulders, and probably happy knees too. That would probably be a good thing. So that all starts off with bouncing and shaking. And there is no wrong way to bounce or shake, but there are a few little cues to them. One thing is I'm bouncing with my hips more than my shoulders. So my shoulders are what's bouncing. It's my hips where the main bounce comes from this region, unsurprisingly. And that is what really takes the rest of the body into sort of this loose kind of shaking place. If you want to take an arm out to the side and kind of wag it back and forth, that's how you can loosen off your arms. You can bounce on one leg and do the same thing with one leg. Or if you're feeling really sluggish today and you just can't get it off of the floor, even at 5:30 p.m., feel free to hop in place just a little bit. If you are hopping in place, again, leave your arms loose here. So they're kind of flapping against your side. Let the shoulders be loose. Let the spine be loose. Let everything be loose. But otherwise, if you are feeling up in your head and you've had enough activity for today, just shaking it down into the ground like this is great. So we're just gonna do this little bit of shaking because it's wonderful. And then from here, if you wanna let the shaking evolve into gentle twisting, avoiding whacking your friend that might be practicing with you, you can do that. Just gently shaking and twisting side to side, possibly feeling quite grateful that we're doing this from home on Zoom and not in the studio where we can all see how crazy we look. And then at this point, oh, I can't stop shaking, it's too good. Feel free to shake as long as you need to, but if you wish to ground the feet and continue twisting, that's fine. We're gonna take this to a more formalized twist. Just make sure to keep your hips, as you twist from side to side, the hips are facing forward for the most part. From here, I'm actually gonna bring my arms up to chest height as if I'm skimming water, and I'm gonna inhale as I twist to the right, exhale as I twist to the left. And as I make that exhale, I can make the sound shh. So it looks like this. When you're ready, you can turn your arms up in cactus arms or goalpost arms, same breathing. And then when you're ready, you can take your arms down by your sides as if you are manually turning a hula hoop, continuing with that same breathing pattern, inhaling to the right, exhaling to the left, making the sound on the exhale. And then you can unwind, letting the arms maybe slap against your shoulders or your back as the twist loosens up, and then ending where we started. Let's bounce it off again because it is just so wonderful to shake everything off after that. So when you feel appropriately shook up, I want you to come to standing anywhere on the mat. Sorry, I'm stripping down a little bit because I'm gonna get warm. Feet together, big toes are touching. There's maybe like 2 inches between my heels so that really the sides of my feet are parallel. From here, I'm gonna bend my knees, bringing them together and place my hands just right on top of my knees, and then do this very wonderful old-timey knee roll. It looks like a dance from the 1920s perhaps, but this is actually also to lubricate the knees because we will be doing a little bit of squatting later. So just going in one direction, possibly admiring the very special creak of the floorboards below you. And then when you're ready, we'll go the other way, let those floorboards sing in reverse. Hello. And then when we're ready, we'll just shake it off again. Let's bring the feet about mat width distance. And Brian's gonna take us through a whole smorgasbord of hip rolls and things like that.
So bringing the feet about mat width distance, you can turn out your feet a little bit if you want, or you could have them facing forward, either way. We're gonna just roll out the hips a little bit. So it's like you're making big hula hoops. Hula hoop hips or something. Although I don't think you really move this much for hula hoops.
Yeah, I feel like we'll be getting to the hula hoops in a minute. This is like a fancy.
This is like your hips are the hoop.
Yes, the hips are the hoop.
And go ahead and switch the direction.
Another practice that I could do all day. It doesn't feel like yoga, but believe me, this is.
And then we'll come back to center. I'm just gonna rock the hips. So you can take the feet actually now and step them in at about hips width distance parallel. And we're gonna do hip rocking like this. So
Look what
it's
she's doing over
what she's
there.
doing over there.
Over there.
It's like you take your hips back and then you bring your hips forward. You can also do this as an abdominal exercise where for the low abdominals, where you're just kind of elongating the lower abdominal muscles and then contracting them to pull the hips forward. And either way, we're just going back and forth with the hips, getting some motion into that. You'll start to feel that getting into the low back as well. And then we're going to bring a tiny circular motion into this, if you can.
I feel like this is the hula hooping motion.
All right,
Like
so
if you were a really good hula hooper and you could go slowly, I feel like maybe I would keep going up this way. That being
maybe you need
said,
the biggest, like a humongously big hula hoop.
let's wait it. That sounds great. When you're ready, we'll switch the direction. Sorry, I'm taking over. I'm gonna steal the last one if that's okay.
Sure, why not?
Just because I have a whole thing. The whole event coming up for all of us. So when you're ready, after a little more of these sort of smaller, tighter hip rolls, possibly feeling them in a different part of the body, let's bring the feet just shy of mat width distance. So maybe like 1.5 feet apart from each other. I'm gonna bring my hands to my hips just to demonstrate what I'm doing, but feel free to let the arms be wherever they wanna be. Eventually, they're going to find a home. For now, we're just bringing one hip forward and then the other hip forward, doing this sort of figure 8 motion. I'm bending into my knees as I do this. If this motion doesn't really seem to make a lot of sense to you, feel free to come to stillness and just start backstroking with your arms, taking one back and then the other. And then as you backstroke, if it makes sense to move the hips while doing that, feel free to allow the hips to follow that movement. If your hips are already doing this figure 8 movement on their own quite easily, feel free to add in the arms, add in the backstroking and see how that works. The idea here is that we're keeping our spine nice and mobile in a way that feels safe. So if you see from behind here, it's kind of hard to tell, but my spine is snaking kind of side to side here with an effort to not get too rigid or too stuck in my spinal posture. I'm just shy of my 40th birthday, so I've got some time before I really have to worry about that, but I figure why not start early. And then when you're ready, we'll just shake it all off a little bit, grounding again in case you're getting a little dizzy from that kind of movement. This time, the hips move slightly different. I'm gonna bring one hip forward and then the other hip forward. It's as if I'm leading from my glutes this time instead of from my hip bones.
So we're just drawing our figure 8 in the opposite direction that we were
Exactly.
drawing it the first time.
And again, if this doesn't seem to make a lot of sense, you can hold still and just do a forward stroke and then let that forward stroke kind of work its way down towards the hips. So you find maybe you're doing a dance from the 60s. We've graduated from dances from the 20s to dances from the 60s. I think this was called the swim, understandably. Is this a thing?
I don't know.
You're not old enough.
I was only 2 years old when the 60s ended.
Okay, well, I tried. So from here, just sort of swimming. And again, if the arms don't make any sense, just keep it to the hips. That's fine. But if the arms do make sense, allow for a sense of fluidity within the spine. So even if your movement doesn't look exactly like what I'm doing, that's okay. We're moving. That's the important part. And then when you're ready, we'll shake it all off again. Will you lead us through arm stuff?
Sure. So we're going to do some motions and movements now to lubricate the joints in the arms and wake up our arms and have very fiery, alive arms. Maybe we'll all look like Popeye at the end of this. So we're going to take the thumbs, tuck them into the palms, curl the 4 fingers around. Let the arms be nice and long by your side. Let your shoulders relax down. And we're going to make circles with the wrists. So as big of circles as you can make.
These feel good.
And when you grab your thumb like that, you can really feel how that affects, you can do it without your thumb, but then when you feel with the thumb in there, you can really feel that working into the forearms here.
There's an isometric grab that happens when the thumb comes in like that.
So keeping the arms nice and long and the shoulders relaxing down, we're going to start to move the arms up and overhead. But try to keep the shoulders down, even though the arms are coming up. So we still have open hearts. When you get to the top, we're going to just take those arms down the front of the body. Still continuing that rotation. You should start to feel the arms really waking up. When you get to the bottom, switch the direction. You're rolling those your wrists. And now we're going to take the arms up the front of the body and down the side. When you get back to the bottom, open out your hands, flap out the arms, shake it out. And then we're gonna get into the elbows a little bit now. So again, tucking the thumbs into the palms, curl the 4 fingers around. This time we'll take the arms out into a T. Relax shoulders down the back, and like your forearms are a couple of airplane propellers facing straight ahead. We're gonna rotate a few times in one direction.
Possibly hearing some cracking.
Yeah, you might hear some cracking, and then switch the direction. Now we're going to take these airplane propellers and face them towards the ceiling. So it kind of looks like this. Relaxing the shoulders down. Your airplane propellers are facing, if you were the airplane, you'd be going facing up. Switch the direction a few times in the other direction. And then one last thing we're going to do with these arms is take them out to the elbows out to the side, shoulders relax down. And again, now the airplane propellers are facing towards the ground. Or I like to imagine I have 2 giant cauldrons that I'm stirring on either side of my body.
and then switch the direction. Arms are probably getting very alive by now. All right, open out the hands, take it out, shake the arms out. Feel free to shake them as vigorously as you need to.
And here's a demo real quick for a way of loosening up muscle tension in the arm. So my palm, if I bring it forward and then back and forward and back, this is pretty rigid. But if I do this loosely, you'll start to feel the muscles kind of soften as you sort of shake that stuff off. I kind of like to pretend the tension in the muscles I just built is like a liquid that's just being sort of dripped off of me right now. Oh, look at my arm. It's like it's not connected to my body. Oh.
All right, so
and then feel free to do that in the other arm once you've done that in one, just to see if there's a difference when you stand up.
So we did swimming.
Happy arms. We did swim.
Should we do the?
Let's take our arms
All right.
out and do T. We'll do one more thing to strengthen the shoulders because we'll need it.
We're gonna hit each other if we get too close.
Turn up the
Take
right.
your arms out into a T, palms face down. Relax your shoulders, reaching long, but start to make small circles with the arms. And then if you feel like it, you can start to spiral these circles out to wider and wider circles, but really try to relax at the shoulders. And then we're gonna switch the direction, but start with a small circle at first, reach long, and then if you feel like it, you can widen it out to larger, wider circles. Maybe the arms start to cross at the wrist. And we're not over yet. We're gonna now take the arms and take them palms face up, and the same thing, reaching long, slow circles at first, widening out to larger and larger circles if you like. And then before we finish anything, we're gonna just flip the direction on that. Start small, reach long, and then widen that out. And then take the arms out and again, and shake them out very vigorously.
I want to do 2 more arm things while we're standing, and then we'll get into Brian.
Look at my rubber band arms.
Very lovely. Brian promised me he was going to teach us Ashtanga series on Salutation B. So we'll see if he remembers that. In the meantime, let's stand here in mountain posture, and I'm going to take us through mountain posture from the bottom to the top real quick. So mountain posture, which looks like this, is a traditional standing posture. The way that I'm going to go through it, I'll show you from the side, is that my feet are about hips width distance, which for those who are wondering, hips width is 2 fists right next to each other in between the arches of the feet. So for me, 8 to 10 inches, maybe for most people between 8 and 12 inches. From here, I'm actually going to stick my tail way out in a way that I typically would not do. But the idea is that this encourages an inward rotation of the calves and the lower legs. Then from here, I'm going to place my hand on my tailbone and another hand on my low abdomen. And I'm just going to take my tailbone down. So even though I've curved in the lower leg, when I take my tailbone down, it actually opens out the upper leg. It opens out my thighs, it opens out my hips. So even though there's this inward rotation of the calf, there's an outward rotation of the upper thigh. That's what opens up through the hips here. Then I'm going to take my palms face out so my heart is open. But again, showing from the side, as you can see, my open heart might be a little too open here, in which case I'll take my hands to the ribs, tuck them down. There we go. Nice long spine. Chin is parallel to the ground. This is mountain posture. Not that it has to be too rigid or anything. And then from here, feel free to reach down with one hand and then reach down with the other, just slowly. So it's not a hiking up and a hiking up, but it's a reaching down and a reaching down. This little short movement is a massage for the organs in the internal cavity here, even though it feels like a shoulder girdle movement. It's really a lung moving past ribs, moving past internal organ movement. So we'll just do this quick organ massage for a second, and that's a very subtle movement. But you might even hear your lungs make a noise as they go past each other. Which is crazy. I've always wondered about that since I was a child. And then from here, we'll shake it off. Let's take the arms out into a T once again. Feet can be slightly wider than hips width distance, so maybe almost mat width distance. We're gonna inhale and curve to one side. Exhale, come back to standing. Inhale, sway to the other side. Exhale, come back to standing. So you can continue this at your own pace with the idea that as you inhale, we're really breathing in through the side body here. We're really expanding through the side. And then as we exhale, we come back to our resting position. Inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling for swaying palm tree. And then he threatened to teach it, and now he must.
All right, so I'm gonna take us through a couple of.
I'm gonna turn
I'm gonna do Series B.
Sun salutation.
Ashtanga sun salutation. It's been a minute since I taught this, so feel free to jump in if I forget something, but I think I got this. All
I
right,
think you got it.
so we're gonna come to either feet hips width distance apart
At the
or
top of the mat.
at the top of the mat, or toes to touch, your option. Standing nice and tall in the Tadasana that we were just demonstrated so lovely. Was this demonstrated so lovely by Ann Everton? We're gonna inhale and sit down like an awkward chair pose.
And to show from the side, awkward chair pose here. It's easy for me to be in it like this with my tail sticking out, but ideally, again, like in mountain, I want to tuck the tail, lengthen through the low back here, through the lumbar spine, and then sit back, looking down at my feet to make sure that my knees aren't going way all over them. But it's like I'm sitting back in the chair.
And then we'll take, on an exhale, we're gonna dive forward, coming down. Bring the hands to the shins, inhale, coming into a flat back. Reaching nice and long with the back, but shoulders are rolling down back. And then we're gonna exhale and let's step back with the right foot. And then we're gonna inhale, coming up into high lunge.
And also, if this is a real challenge for you to come up into high lunge real quick, feel free to take a couple blocks or block-like objects. They could be books or old VHS cassettes, maybe Sound of Music, one of those with 2 cassettes. And you can put your hands on the blocks, and this can be your coming up with the lunge. Otherwise, we'll come all the way up.
And then we're gonna exhale, coming down. We'll step that left foot back to meet the right foot. And we're gonna come through Chaturanga. So coming down, elbows hugging in tight. We'll come down on it. Exhale.
Also, another option, if you don't want to do a push-up, feel free to lower the knees and then the chest and chin on the exhale.
And then inhaling up into Cobra or upward facing dog, your option.
Keeping the heart open.
We're gonna tuck the toes, roll over the toes, coming back into downward facing dog. And then if I remember correctly,
We step
we
the
step
foot forward.
left foot forward this time. And then we'll come up, inhaling up into lunge. Or you actually know what's supposed to lay up. Is it lunge or warrior one? Plant that back foot.
Just keep
You're
it with
supposed to
lunge.
plant that back foot. Exhale, fold. We're gonna step that back foot up to meet the top foot. We're gonna bring the hands to the shins, inhale into flat back. Exhale, fold. And then we're gonna keep the knees very bent as we come back up to awkward chair posture.
Again, so again, remembering to tuck the tail and take a peek down at your toes just to make sure you can see them.
And-
Knees are tracking rather than feet.
And then we'll come up on it. Exhale. And just palms come down to heart center.
Very nice.
Should do one more of those, right? A little
the other
faster.
Side, the other side, the other side.
All right.
You got this.
Inhale, awkward chair. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. This time we're gonna step the left foot back. This time let's plant the foot. We'll come up into warrior one.
And again, if you prefer to plant the foot and just come up halfway, you can hold on the blocks.
And then we're gonna come down on an exhale, hands come to the mat, right foot steps back to the left foot, and then coming down, your choice, either knees, chest, and chin, or flat body chaturanga, coming down on an exhale, inhaling into cobra, or upward facing dog. And then we're gonna roll over the toes, raise the hips, come back into downward facing dog.
And then this time we're gonna step that right foot to the top of the mat. Plant that back foot, inhaling up into warrior one.
I think the left foot was to come up.
Oh,
So if you did right foot on the left side forward, this time do left foot forward, taking the right foot down and out towards the side for warrior one, either all the way up or hands to blocks.
I told you it's been a minute. And then we're gonna exhale, coming down. We'll step that back foot up to meet the front foot. Inhale, coming into a flat back. Reaching long with the neck, reaching long with the back. Exhale, fold, and then bending the knees will come back up. Awkward chair pose. Deep inhale here. Exhale, coming up to stand, palms touch, bring palms down to heart center. And then
Nice.
you can relax the arms down.
And now at this point, let's shake it all off again, because we have one more strength building practice, and then we get to lie on the ground for the rest of the class, which I love. So this strength building practice, I just want to check how much time I have. Oh, I got lots of time. This is great. So traditionally in India, wrestlers would do 2 different practices to build strength. One is a push-up type movement, one is a squat type movement. Because we just did the sun salutation and our spines should be fairly warmed up, let's do the push-up movement first. And you have 2 options for this. If you want to just do dolphin push-ups, I'll demonstrate those. Otherwise, you can try Dans, which is the name of this Hindu wrestling warm-up exercise that is quite good for you. So let's come down to hands and knees on the mat. For dolphin push-ups, I'm going to come down again to my forearms like I was doing for rabbit earlier. At this point, I'm going to grab opposite elbows with my hands to measure out how wide my shoulders are. They're not terribly wide. There we go. That's great. So then from here, I bring my hands forward, interlace the fingers, tuck the toes, lift the hips. This posture is called dolphin posture. If you wish to stay here and just hang out in this posture, it's pretty strength building on its own. If you wish to make it more of a push-up movement, we're going to inhale forward towards this low plank, and then exhale, lifting the hips back towards this downward facing dog on our elbows kind of position. So that's one option. Brian's showing it. The other option is Dan, the more traditional Hindu wrestler push-up. We're gonna do 5. I'll show you what it looks like before we get started. So this on my hands and knees. I'm gonna bend the knees, lift the hips. Here I am in my downward facing dog. I'm gonna inhale, coming all the way forward, keeping my shoulders down and lowering my hips, keeping my toes tucked for upward facing dog here. So really the only point of contact I have here are the tips of my toes and my hands. My hips are up, my tail is tucked, my heart is open, I'm sweating, and then I'm gonna exhale, lifting the hips and coming back towards downward facing dog. So that is done. I'll show you real quick. Inhaling, exhaling. So if you wish to do that or the dolphin push-up, your choice, we will do 5. Feel free to start when you're ready. Inhaling forward, exhaling back. 4 more. Allow your core muscles to carry you back. Is it 1 more?
Yep.
And if you wish to do more than 5, feel free. Otherwise, if you've done 5, feel free to come down to your knees, and we'll come all the way back to rest in child's pose for just a second. So my hips are moving towards my knees, towards my heels here. Excuse me. And my knees are moving towards each other. So I'm really rounding my spine over my legs. Just breathing deep here for a second. Catching your breath as the case may be for me. And then at this point, I'm going to slide my hands back towards under my shoulders, push down with my hands, I'm gonna tuck my toes, lift my knees, coming into a forward fold for a second here. Our knees can be bent. And then rolling back up. I'm gonna shake it off. We'll do our squats and work our way all the way down. So Baithak squats are very near and dear to my heart. Another Hindu wrestling movement. Two choices. You can make them not so intense or quite intense. I will show from the side. So Baithak squat in some ways is similar to awkward fierce pose, the chair posture that we were doing earlier. For a less deep squat, my feet are slightly wider than hips width distance, and my knees come out over my feet. There's definitely a tracking of the knees over the feet. So what happens is I'm gonna inhale down and then exhale up. My arms come down and up on the inhale, and then exhale, they come back towards my chest. It's like I'm doing a Nordic track for people who remember those from the 90s. So inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling. Again, keeping an eye on my toes here. As my knees come forward, I can still see the very tips of my toes. That's great. If you can do that, thumbs up. If not, don't worry. It's not as important as keeping the knees going right over the toes here, meaning the hips are staying aligned. Now, if you want to do a more challenging Dan or Baithak that I teach now that I'm completely out of breath, feet are closer to hips with distance now. And with this one, I'm going to find a point of focus, something to look at that's not moving, because I'll be balancing briefly in this. So I'm going to inhale, coming up onto my toes, squatting down quite low, and then exhale, come back to standing, soles of the feet are completely on the ground again. So your choice, if you want to go real deep or not so deep, doesn't matter, it's up to you. We're going to do 5. So when you're ready, inhaling, woo, exhaling, inhale, exhale. Feel free to continue at your own pace. And you can do more than 5 if you like. I might just do 1 more for good measure. And then when you're done, we'll shake it all off again. Take the feet kind of wide and put the hands on the hips again for a quick rotation in one direction. Loosening up the psoas muscles, the muscles right here that get kind of tight from that sort of movement. And then switch direction, going the other way. Very nice. You guys did a great job with that. That stuff is hard, even though it doesn't seem like it. And then when you're ready, shall we Frankenstein our way down? Will you Frankenstein us?
Sure, so let's bring our feet to...
I think it's big toes touch, maybe.
Your big toes touch? Okay, big toes touch. And we're gonna reach our arms forward. Plug those shoulders in on your back so you're not like doing this, but they're reaching long. And then we're gonna come up to our toes.
Again, finding a point of focus that is not moving.
Find something to look at that's not focusing. We're gonna bend our knees in front of us, not out to the side, but straight in front of us as we come down, standing on the tiptoes, if you can. Whoa!
Again, if you like, and you have 2 blocks or block-like objects, you can have them on either side of you to hold on to here once you get down.
And then once we're down, I think you can just put your hands down and sit down.
Yay! Hooray! We made it to the ground.
Yeah, to the ground.
At this point, feel free to put your palms face down behind you, fingers pointing towards your hips, and we'll just let the knees rock side to side. There's got to be a better name for this than mud flap girl. Maybe pin up.
I don't know if that's better.
That's not any better at all. All right, that's great. And then from here, let's take the legs out long in front of us. Hands can stay where they are, and just turn the toes back and forth, back and forth. I'll bring the computer down a bit so you can see better. But for now, we teach us a short smorgasbord.
Sure. So
Maybe skipping step posture. I'm going right to John.
So let's set up with our legs out in front of us. Let's bend our right leg and bring the right foot to the inside of the left leg. And then we're gonna sit up nice and tall, press out through the heel of the left leg. We're gonna turn the upper body just slightly so that it's facing out over the left leg. If you have a strap here, you can feel free to use it.
You know, another great fake strap is if you have a shirt or something.
Yes, if
like
you have a
that.
fake strap, use that one as well. It's just as good as a real strap.
Just
We're gonna inhale, arms up overhead, with or without a strap. Relax shoulders down the back so that we're not doing this kind of thing, but we have a nice open heart. And we're gonna lead with the heart. So we'll take a deep inhale, exhale, fold from the middle of the body, and only come as far forward as you can while still keeping that back straight. Once you get to that point, you can take the hands down. If you have a strap, you can take it around the ball of the foot. Or you can just grab the foot that's available to you, but still keeping the back straight. The idea here is we don't want to like compromise our back so that we can reach beyond our toes like this. We want a straight back, even if that means we can't reach our toes. And then just breathe into it.
yeah, I love it. I love it. That's a great idea.
We'll come up on an inhale. We're going to step that right foot to the outside of the left leg, setting up for a seated twist.
I'll show from the side. So one thing I do want to mention is my right foot, the most important thing here is I'm keeping the big toe of my right foot connecting with the ground here. So as I twist, I don't want to draw the sole of the right foot off the ground. That's what we're focusing on, is drawing all the energy out and yet still having that foot connected to the ground.
And so your option, you can keep this left leg straight if you like. If you prefer to twist with the, with a little bit more of a pretzel-like aesthetic, you can put your left foot next to your right hip. But if that makes you feel like your sit bones aren't both equally grounded into the earth, if this makes you feel like your right sit bone's popping up a little bit, go ahead and keep that left leg straight and you find out you won't have that issue. So we're going to twist to the right, so you can take your left hand just underneath the right leg. We're going to reach forward at first and then reach up and around, twisting to the right. We'll plant that hand down behind us, turning to the right. Turn the head to the right, turn the eyes as far as you can to the right. Relax your shoulders and breathe deep. If you want an extra twist, you can also take that left arm to the outside of the right leg. Some people like that, get a little extra twist that way. But just, listen to your body, be mindful. We're just trying to gently stretch things. We're not trying to see if we can achieve that perfect pretzel today.
But what is a perfect pretzel? Is it hard or soft? Right? There is no perfect pretzel.
No. So continuing to breathe here, and then we're gonna unwind on an exhale. We'll take the hands over to the left side. Take a little bow to the left, a little counter twist. And then coming up, yeah, down angle.
Good old down
We'll take
angle.
that legs out, and then we'll bring the feet to touch.
And let's be here for a second. So bound angle posture, some people call this butterfly. If you're practicing with blocks or block-like objects, feel free to put them under the knees if you like, unless you don't feel like you need them. And they can be high, medium, low, doesn't matter. It's all good. From here, soles of the feet together, let's put our hands on the feet and kind of open up the soles as if we're opening up a book. So, okay, I'm looking at the story of everywhere that I've walked, and this year it really has been a lot of weekend park. But anyway, at this point, let's get the spine nice and long, sitting up nice and tall, and then when you're ready, gently begin to creep your way forward. We'll fold forward slowly. At this point, if you want to keep a straight spine, that's nice, but if you want to curve a little bit, that's fine too. Either way, and for me personally, it might not be the same for you, I do find that I actually get a little deeper in my forward fold if I kind of sway my way into it, just using sort of the softness and smoothness of that movement to take me closer and closer to the mat, to take my face closer and closer to my feet. It works.
And then we'll slowly start to come up on an inhale. And then you can take your hands to either side of your legs and just gently close them. And then we're going to take them out again in front of us and feel free to just kind of lean back on your hands and wag the feet out. And then this time we're gonna bend the left foot, bring the left leg, bring the left foot to the inside of the right leg. Sit up nice and tall here. We're gonna turn the upper body just slightly so that it's facing over the right leg this time. We're gonna inhale, arms up overhead with or without a strap, your option. Relax shoulders down the back before you fold, and then fold on an exhale, leading with the heart. When you get to the point where your back wants to start to round, or you can't go any further without doing that, then we're gonna stop right there. Maybe you can come out of it slightly, just so you can reestablish that straight back. And then the hands can come down, find the foot or the leg. If you have a strap, take it around the ball of the foot. And we'll come up on an inhale. We'll step that left leg to the outside of the right leg, setting up for a seated twist to get ready to twist to the left. And again, your option, straight right leg or put that right foot next to the left hip.
And again, if you are pushing down on any part of your body, make it your left big toe.
And this time we're gonna reach underneath of the left leg with the left knee with the right hand. We'll reach forward with that left arm, turn to the side, then put that left hand down behind you. So we're turning all the way to the left. You can turn that head to the left, turn the eyes to the left. If you want extra twist, you can take that right arm and bring it to the outside of the left leg. And then just breathe deep in this twist. And on an exhale, we'll unwind. We'll take the hands over to the right, take a little bow, counter twist to the right. And then we'll come up and find turtle.
Oh, yes, let's do
So
turtle.
this is sort of like bound angle.
This one is easier and harder.
We have our feet together like in bound angle, but you might want to take them a little further away from the body so you have more of a diamond shape than with your legs.
And again, this is something, if you feel like you want to have blocks under your knees, you can. Although once you see where we're going with this, you make a decision on that. It might not be the best idea.
So hands in front of you on the floor. You can take the knees up a little bit, and then we're going to take those hands out and down. Maybe you can even bring the elbows to the mat. So it looks like this. This is our turtle posture.
And at this point, yeah, maybe you want some blocks under the legs. That's fine. Maybe you find that you're supporting the legs with the forearms, or maybe you find that you can actually slide the hips back a little bit and bring yourself more and more forward so that your forehead might actually be resting around the arches of the feet. Obviously, that might not be available for you today. That's great. If it's not, there are plenty of other things you can do, just leaning forward in this posture. If it is available for you today to go that deep into it, the next level, which I can't even achieve after all these years of practice, is that I'm going to come up a little bit, draw my knees in a little bit, and then take my arms down my sides, reaching down back behind me like this. And then if your arms are long enough, oh, he's almost got it. You can reach your arms behind and grab for opposite hands. How would I even show this with him? It's like I'd have to pick him up and turn him around.
No, you don't want to do
But yes, his hands are close to each other. So whatever feels
My
most
fingertips
comfortable
are
here.
touching.
That's about it.
Whatever feels most comfortable here in turtle. Take your rest here for just a second. However deep you are in this, try to keep some length through the belly, through the spine here as you're folding forward.
And then we'll just slowly come back up, roll
So
up.
to come out, let's lift the knees, slide the arms back, then take the hands to the outside of the knees.
Now, let's roll onto our backs. with our knees up and just do a little bit of rocking here. How we look at time?
Oh, we should be wrapping it up.
Wrapping it up, huh? All right. So just a little rocking if you want.
Either up and down or side to side, whatever feels
If
best
this
for
hurts,
you.
if this hurts your spine, you can roll to one side and roll on the other side so that you're not rolling directly on your spine. And then let's bring the feet to the mat, knees high. Let's take the arms out into a T.
16.
Okay, cool. Perfect timing. We're gonna set up for a seated twist or
Supine twist.
supine twist. So let's actually bring the knees up towards the chest. We're gonna inhale the hips up just like a centimeter or a millimeter and bump them off to the left. So the knees now are moving over to the left. And now we're just gonna let the knees fall all the way down towards the earth. So a couple of things to be careful, keep in mind here. One, we wanna keep the left shoulder still planted on the earth. So that means if you have to come up a little bit so that you can plant that left shoulder and then do that.
Yeah, I find lifting through my right shoulder briefly actually helps me to get my left shoulder down too.
Another thing is if you want even more of a twist, you could take that left leg around the right leg. And then, I don't know if I told you this or not, but you can turn your head to look to the left. And then just breathe into this twist.
So when you're ready, no hurry. We'll bring ourselves back to laying on our backs, knees pointing right up at the ceiling, arms still out in the T. Let's push down on the soles of our feet to lift the hips just an inch off the mat. Bump the knees to the right, draw the knees together up towards the chest, and then let the knees fall over to the left. From here, I'm gonna lift my left shoulder just a little bit to bring my right shoulder and my left shoulder back down on the mat. And then I'm gonna look over my right shoulder, twisting the other way.
And if you want to cross that right leg over, you can feel free to do that.
Just breathing deep. Slowing down the movement. Slowing down the mind. And then when you're ready, no hurry. Feel free to bring the hips back down to the mat. Soles of the feet come to the mat. Knees are bent up towards the ceiling. Let's take our arms down by our sides. Take our legs down, one to each end of the mat. If you have any more movements you'd like to do before Shavasana, feel free to do that. Otherwise, feel free to meet us in our rest here. So I'm gonna tuck my tail just a little bit to lengthen my low back. I'm gonna tuck my chin just a little bit to lengthen my cervical spine, my neck. And then I'm gonna lift up my heart, tuck my shoulder blades, and let my heart come back down, resting on the mat, palms face up, feet splaying out to each side. If you're wearing glasses and you are comfortable taking them off and putting them somewhere to the side where you know you will not roll over on them, by all means, go ahead and do that. And we'll just close our eyes and let our breathing become natural as we soften that area in between the eyebrows. Soften the sides of our mouth. Soften our heart area. Soften our mind. Soften the corners of ourself. And just rest. when you are ready, if you are ready, and you don't have to be ready, feel free to wiggle the fingers and the toes, maybe rolling the wrists and ankles one more time. Let's take the arms together above the head, stretching them long above you. You can bring the legs together, stretching them long below you. Stretching long like a pencil. And then rolling off to one side or the other to rest in a fetal position for just a second. Honoring your body, honoring your practice. And then when you're ready, we'll push down with one hand and then the other, bringing ourselves to a comfortable seat, possibly taking the time to sit up on the blanket, elevating the hips slightly. And then when you're ready, we'll do just 2 more rounds of Prana Mudra and end with an Om. So if you wish, inhaling the arms out wide and up, maybe leaning forward, looking up. Exhale, pushing down, leaning back. Inhale, arms come out wide and up. Exhale, push down, leaning back. This last time, we'll inhale the arms out wide and up, and when they come to the top again, hands will meet for prayer. Exhaling the palms down in front of your chest. We're gonna do an Om. You're welcome to join. Take a deep inhale. The light in me sees and honors the light in all of you. Thank you so much for practicing with us today. Namaste.
Namaste. We should let people know.
Let them know.
We actually teach yoga twice a week from this room. If you want to get on, just let us know if you want. We'll put you on the email list for it. We teach Tuesdays at 7 to 7:45
Eastern time,
and Fridays at 5 to 6.
5 to 6:15 Eastern time. So Tuesdays or Fridays are great. We're teaching yoga. If you want to join in on that, feel free to send us your email address. You can either respond to the email that you got from Maura today, or you can respond to us. Otherwise, thank you. Maura will probably be back next week, and we will see you while we are taking her class. So if you have any questions, also feel free to type them in. And thank you so much for joining us today. Bye-bye.
Do you want pre-birthday dessert? I'll come right now.
I have
Pre-birthday dessert?
a customer at 6:30. Well, 2 of them. So if you show up here at here, let me stop the recording.